Astronauts and cosmonauts and spaceships in the sky. $1 billion price tag just to get that thing to fly. While a man looks down and sees his hungry children as they cry. We go upward to go forward, going backward all the time. Our cities and our people, they reek with blood and pain. 'Cause some just do not trust a man whose color's not the same. But they'll trust him in another land to fight a war and die. We go upward to go forward, going backward all the time. Our children in confusion, they don't know where they stand. A product of society that they don't understand. So they escape into a world with no control of mind. We go upward to go forward, going backward all the time. The man who said that God is dead wears a collar too. But why should God have anything to do with me and you? We put our faith in fools and we expect to save mankind. We go upward to go forward, going backward all the time. We've got to find the answers to the problems that we face. Not only here, but everywhere, and save the human race. Let's raise a flag and say that it was made by all mankind. Let's go upward and go forward, and not backward all the time. Let's go upward and go forward, and not backward all the time.
Walter, wake up.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there.
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling real well, does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays?
No. No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
And a happy Monday to you all. Welcome to the IRONWORX right here on freeworld.fm. You can also find us over on YouTube on the ironrealmmedia YouTube channel. And it is definitely a Monday. And we are sans Walter, at least thus far. I know he was not getting a whole lot of sleep as of last night. So maybe he did end up falling asleep, and that's why he's not here. So we'll just let that be. But Zach's here. How you doing, Zach?
I'm not doing too bad there, Josh.
Good.
How you doing?
You know, not too bad, I guess. I'm going to have to...
Are you all pumped up?
Pumped up, not packed up. I got some laundry done yesterday. I'm going to need to get stuff packed up. Need to get the tent situated. My camping box stocked and inventoried and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure I've got to
I'm going to do it today. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm going to pull out one big tent and just set it up to air it out and all that kind of good stuff. It's been a while since we had them out.
Yeah, me too. I still got to dig up a couple of tarps. Actually, shouldn't be too hard. I went through about 4 or 5 years ago and made sure that there were at least 3 backpacks full of tarps and clothes and gloves and hats and fire starters, and just in case 3 people needed to bug out on the quickness, we would be able to grab a bag and go. So really it ought not be that hard. I just got to mess it all up. Unpack a bunch of stuff just to repack it. It's going to be great.
Good times. We are joined by another gentleman, since we are sans Walter.
We are.
Yuka. How are you doing today, sir?
I am good. How's it, guys?
Not too bad.
Still flat out there, that's for sure.
That it is.
Oh, yeah.
How's everything in Durban, South Africa today?
Sunny after a very cold weekend. Remember, cold relative to me.
Right, like 70 degrees here in the U.S.?
I think you were using Fahrenheit. For me, it was 14 degrees Celsius. Lots of rain as well and wind.
So, like 60, 65.
Yeah. 57.2.
A nice, really cool, crisp way to have a day. Yeah. Yeah.
When you moved up to the mountains, there was a little bit of snow as well.
Yeah, I heard it. Some places of South Africa got some heavy snow.
Yep. It was cold. It was colder than our winter, and we just passed winter. And people got to do snowman, make a snowman and all this other stuff that you Americans that receive snow do.
So here's a question. What do you use for a nose for a snowman in South Africa?
A carrot.
How about arms? Just regular branches? Like, would you be able to tell from a snowman from one country to the next? Like, do you put, like, snowman in our country would have a scarf and a hat, but I find it unlikely that you're liable to have a large supply of hats and scarves in South Africa.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people did put scarves, but I did notice that a lot of the snowmen didn't have arms. It was just sort of like a crippled snowman.
Good old paraplegic snowman.
So what exactly is wrong with Walter, guys?
Well,
I think he was just born that way.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just super excited and, you know, nervous and all that kind of stuff. He was up all night. He sent me a text and then forgot to hit send. And an hour later comes back, and I was just about to lay down. It was going on 9 something. And yeah, but he needed to talk about the weather and this and that, so I gave him a call, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be there in the morning. Don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight. Just got all this stuff going on and stuff he's trying to get done and do, and, you know, it's been a while since he's traveled on a plane and all that with his back and everything. Yeah, just real nervous.
Master Walter, sick he is.
Oh. So, did you get snow where you were on the coast?
No, we did not get any snow. It was freaking cold though.
Yeah, we're supposed to have
the kind of cold where you look at a fat chick and you think, might be worth getting a number to today and cuddling up with her. That kind of cold.
Kind of cold. Oh my
what
goodness.
about you? What about you guys? No crazy weather lately in the States. No hurricanes.
We had a
Tornadoes.
tropical storm pop up out of nowhere. Like, one day there's nothing there, and then the next day it's like right at the coast of South Carolina, a tropical storm. Just, and we got a little bit of rain and stuff like that, but nothing, nothing crazy here.
Yeah, there's nothing crazy going on here either. It's all pretty basic.
And no new flat Earth news. I'm struggling to find flat Earth news unless you use that app. That what's it called again? Sun, Moon, Flat Earth app.
The Flat Earth Sun.
Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
Yeah, there we go. Or you use that other websites. What is it? Stop,
Look.
Think and Look, or Stop, Look and Think, something like that.
StopBookThink.com, I believe, is the one.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they actually still update with new videos. I thought maybe it was dead. But other than that, just to find news that is interesting, it's so hard. So I've just been listening to that doctor guy about Christianity and and the drug use, and I've gotten more and more into it. So try and find sources, and yeah, it's horrendous. It's horrendous.
It is horrendous. I will say Gnostic Informant is a little bit easier to listen to if you're so inclined to take in some of the information a little less in your face.
And I've gotten used to his style. I've gotten over it.
Man, I still can't get past it. Like, I was good for a couple
It's a
days.
lot better.
Now I can take
It's
him
a
in
lot
about
better in interview form.
20, 30 minutes at a time is about the most I can handle him.
There have
But,
been
I
some
mean-
crazy... Oh, go ahead, Nuka.
No, I was just saying, like, where does that leave? After you find this information, where do you stand? Where does it leave you in terms of the Christianity, the Jesus thing, or if you want to say Yeshua, or these sources that wrote all of this stuff? It just sounds like everybody was having one big orgy and they were consuming drugs the whole time. And then somebody decided, let's write some shit down and pass it on to these idiots. And then here we are worshipping everything and taking it as the word of God. And it's probably some guy that was just high.
Yeah, see, for me, it doesn't really affect me all that much because, I mean, I know there's a creator, but there's always been some of the stories of the Bible that just didn't jive with me. It's like, well, I'm not believing that. You can't just, I need to see things to actually, know it to be true. And if I don't know it's true, then it's up in the air and questionable for me. So I never met Jesus. I wasn't around back then. I don't know anyone who did know Jesus to talk to. So all these are stories to me. Written by a guy I don't know, that I can't confirm anything in this story. So you could take all the different Bibles, and they can all, some of them say different things. The Apocrypha definitely says different things than, the King James Version. But I've never held any of these books, on a super high pedestal in my world. You know what I mean? I mean, they're all, I put them up higher than, Maxim magazine or whatever, or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. Amazing books, all of them. But I don't know them to be true. I don't believe them to be true then. So history to me is like a big question mark. When I hear this kind of stuff, I'm not really all that surprised. The way I see the world now, and you look at the stuff they're putting in history books just since I've been alive, all the lies. Napoleon even said, a couple hundred years ago, history is nothing more than lies that are agreed upon. So yeah, it doesn't really affect me all that much. I know there's a lot of people out there, though, that it does affect. And I get that, too. But for me, once I found the creator, it wasn't through any type of religion. It was through physics in the natural world. So it doesn't change me at all, really. What about you, Josh?
Well, I've held that particular religious book in various stages of esteem. I haven't always just sort of accepted it. I haven't always not just accepted it either. I always got the feeling, though, that it was like a hobble or like a collar, a ring through your nose, if you will. Like I could tell that it was based on something, but like it had been manipulated in order to better control people and behaviors. And I guess that would make sense if that's what you're trying to do, is through society, control society. You use avenues like religion in order to adjust society. But it still had that nagging, like there's just something off here. And that was the weird thing about Amon Hillman's information, as sort of off-putting as the information itself sort of was, and as off-putting as his delivery sort of is. There was still that ring of truth. It made me think, oh, well, that sounds way too correct. Like, that feels like it's filling in a lot of the missing pieces that I felt weren't there in the King James Version. Which is why I just sort of got a little voracious with the information. But, if you can get past his delivery and start looking at the information, and still accept it all with a grain of salt, because not everybody agrees with Amon Hillman. Most people that only read the religious texts will say that he's wrong. Take that for what it's worth. But when I hear this information and I start trying to overlay it on reality, or at least overlay it on the reality I think I see sort of as this conspiracy theorist, and it really does start to fill in so many of these. They weren't even really questions per se. They were just sort of just information that was there that may not have seemed particularly relevant or had any real significance to it. For instance, back in the days when I was looking for the legal exit of the Matrix, there were certain ways that you sign your name. And one of the stipulations in the way that you sign your name was the color ink you used. And everybody knew that the color purple was reserved for royalty. Right? Purple was the color of royalty. That's just sort of the way it's been, the royal robes. I never thought to question why. Why does royalty, why are they associated with this purple? A very specific purple, too. It's called Tyrian purple. Sort of like the root word for tyrant or tyranny. A Tyrian purple was the royal purple color. Now, if you're a fan of Amon Hillman, you might be familiar with the color purple as well, because he uses it and refers to it as a lot of the medicines and Christings that goes on as being used with this like purple goo. So when the prophets needed to talk to God, they would Christ themselves or have someone Christ them with this purple goo, and they'd spend 3 days talking to God, and then they were brought back to life And they come back with all this extra information. So the goo, the purple goo, sort of initiates the conversation with God for the prophets. And it makes sense then why a Tyrian purple for royalty would make sense, because royalty is decreed by God to rule over man. God told the king he gets to be king. That's where the king gets all of his power from, was directly from God. But how does he know what God wants? Surely he would have had to talk to God. And it would make sense that would be the significance of the purple for royalty, because that's where they go to talk to God, to reinforce the idea that they are God's voice here on earth, at least prior to the Pope. But it's little things like that. Just all of these little bitty tidbits of information that when you have a conspiracy sort of background and you overlay it, you're like, well, Jesus, that makes so much sense. If there were people actually worshiping polytheism, right? There were multiple gods they were worshiping, and in an attempt to hide it, they just tried to convert that into a single monotheistic God. We're going to hide all of the same traditions and everything else within this monotheistic religion, but we're still at the very tip top going to be worshiping all of the other gods. And we'll just hide it. We'll backdate all this information, pretend like it's always been this way. We'll totally basically reinvent the Hebrew language and pretend that that's just the way it's always been. And so the lies and the deceptions and all these other things tend to make a little bit more sense when you're looking at his information, if you can, of course, then take it with a grain of salt and just assume for a second that it's correct. To just granted that everything Dr. Amon Hillman says is correct, and then you overlay that, it really does fill in quite a bit of empty spaces in the conspiracy world. That's what I think.
So, Josh and Zack, I don't know if you've heard about the Rinderpest outbreak that was in Africa and killed almost 90% of the cattle in Southern and East Africa.
What kind of outbreak was it?
The Rinderpest outbreak.
Not familiar.
The last estimate said it killed as many people as the Black Death. It wiped off like a third of Ethiopia's population as well. But here's the thing. In my country, the indigenous people always had a view of having ancestors. And although you had the missions, the people from England that would come and try to spread the word of God, most people were not taken to it. So you had all of these churches built and all of these priests come in and try to teach the word of God. But the indigenous people would not follow. They carried on with their beliefs of ancestors until the Rinderpest outbreak happened. Because they had land and they had their cattle, they had food. They didn't want for anything. So they didn't really need to go to church. When the Rinderpest happened, they ran out of their cattle, so they had no food. They had land. Some of them had land, and some people didn't. But all in all, a lot of people became poor because of the loss of their cattle. And then the churches around the country started offering a meal before Sunday service. So now you had people that started coming to church, the indigenous people, that started coming to the church to get the meal and obviously now stay for the service. And as time went on, new kids obviously get bored, new generations come through, and the church becomes a way of life because that's all they've ever known. And a lot of people became Christians that way in our country. The indigenous people became Christians because of that in our country.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where now you can, if you ask somebody, well, why are you Christian? They don't know. They just say, well, my whole family is Christian. I was born Christian. Yet they don't know the past and how the whole thing even happened. What's worse is when the mining boom happened and they found diamonds and gold and whatever in Johannesburg and the Northern Cape. what would happen then is the people that run these mines and that are, what were they called? There's a word for it, but they're basically the middleman, where they would find the labor to come in and work the mine. So they would go back to these homelands, to the indigenous people that are now poor and don't have cattle, and say to the father, listen, you have 3 sons. I will give you 10 cattle for each son. You're not buying your son, he's still your son. But we'll give you 10 cattle. He must come and work in Johannesburg and he'll earn some money as well. So a father now who has no income and all of these sons and mouths to feed is going to say, okay, cool. Yes, I'll take the cattle. He gets 30 cattle. His sons go off to Johannesburg and they start working. Eventually the father passes away and the home is left without a man because all the men would go to work. Now it's all the women that are looking after all the children. And a lot of our homes even now don't have the men. Because obviously you all know this, you go to work and everything. So there's a lot of history that's not really taught in our schools, which requires a layman's person to just go and look at it and go to the library and read the books and find out the actual history of this country. And I've always had that gripe with Christianity on how it took over the indigenous people, the indigenous people's mind, and it became their first religion. That always was a gripe for me.
You know, they did it pretty much the same way here in the U.S. I mean, it still goes on. There's a lot of homeless people that have to sit through a sermon to get a plate of food. They're hungry. I think Dr. Alman Hillman started out his Christian faith as a teenager doing this very thing. He would go work at the soup kitchens and would, in order for the homeless person to get the plate of food, they had to first sit and listen to Alman Hillman try to save their soul. And that's what he would do. He said he got quite good at it.
Yeah, I saw that interview.
But as far as Christianity goes, it's pretty much the way it's always been, I think. I think this was part of the breeding out of the polytheism. And it's just the nature of the bird. I think that's the way the pendulum creates momentum. Like, we have to deal with a lot of bullshit with all this woke crap, all the LGBTQ stuff that's going on right now. But we know that it's not going to last. It can't last. They can't breed enough to perpetuate that sort of lifestyle. The only people that are going to actually be continuing to breed like that are going to be the Christians. And you just keep that thing going. I mean, you just teach the kids. I mean, if LGBTQs can't have children and Christians are having children and raising their children as Christians, then eventually the pendulum is going to swing right back over the LGBTQ, and now we're into Handmaid's Tale or something.
Well, when you're listening to the doctor, what is it, Dr. Ullman, whatever his surname is, back then there wasn't so much a judgment on who he slept with. I think in some interview he stated that the only prejudice that people started having about that sort of thing is when they started having a prejudice on people using drugs. And that's when people started saying, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this is wrong, and whatnot. But before that, people really didn't give a shit. They just sort of did whatever they wanted.
Well, yeah, because you were worshiping goddesses like Dionysus. Sex was used so much in the religious rituals that it wasn't necessarily the shameful act that it came to be later on through that monotheism that was being bred at the time.
Oh, interesting reads. I'll say that much.
So what are your thoughts on, the gods of Mount Olympus and, because it goes way back, the whole story of Nimrod and, Noah's grandson. He was Noah's grandson or great-grandson or something like that, and the knowledge passed down, and he made a one-world government order. And
Well, you see, even if you look at Indian religions, and they have many gods. So Hindus have a lot of gods as well. And you trace back some of these stories, they all seem to tie in. If you just look back far enough, they all seem to tie into the same gods over and over and over again. Yeah, people have their different interpretations and give them different names, but the stories in general, no matter where you go in the world, seem to be the same. So, for lack of a better thing to say, I think those gods, if they were gods, definitely existed, because every religion on earth now that I have seen so far seems to tie back to those gods. It's just presented in a different way or called something else, but the earliest form of that religion ties into those gods, these initial gods that we keep coming across, whether it's Greek mythology or whatever it is. We just keep coming across the same thing in the same stories, just different names of them.
do you think these gods are still alive?
That's the question. I honestly don't know. I believe in a higher power. I'm starting to think maybe there isn't just one higher power, there's a bunch of them. Whether they're still alive or doing what, I really don't know. I couldn't
Think of it
answer that
maybe like this.
definitively.
They may be a higher power than human, but I don't think that we are top of the food chain here at all. Like as far as bipedal, upright walking, intelligent beings. What if they're like the next level up, and then there's 4 levels than that until you get to the one? But I just don't think that men or mankind has, the power over this place. I don't think we're in charge.
In
I
charge in what way though?
As in, we have control over anything that goes on Earth.
Well, if you wanted to be destructive, we could generally destroy the whole Earth.
Could we?
Oh. No, you couldn't.
Okay, I guess you're not believing in nukes.
Hey, even you could light off every single nuke that there is. You may kill,
All of humanity.
You ain't gonna kill the Earth. The Earth is gonna do its thing, and it's gonna filter all that stuff out, and life will start back up. And look at Chernobyl. The animals and the plants and everything like that are thriving. Thriving.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, in terms of us having control over this place, we generally do have control. Look, maybe only a few people have control, the elites, as we like to call them.
I think
But
it's
as humanity itself,
like a
They
circus.
told us what to do as well.
It's like a circus bear. I think. The white tigers. We have the illusion of control. We make people think that what we're doing is controlling it, but ultimately maybe we can steer it and guide it and give it suggestions. But at the end of the day, it's going to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. That's how I see Earth. I don't think that we can...
Yeah, ask Gold, Siegfried, or Roy, whichever one, about how much control they had over that tiger. Until they didn't. And then the tiger was like, I'm in control now. And you look like you might taste good, so I'm going to eat you. Or whatever the tiger...
well, that's something to think about over the break while I get more coffee. Does anyone have a request?
They do. We've got a few requests out here this morning.
People have been busy. Love y'all.
Yes, absolutely. Much love. I'm not even sure this is going to come through. Let me just check. Yep, that goes through. We know whose that was. So do stick around because we've just started the IronWORX right here on freeworld.fm with the first segment done and over with. So we'll be right back with more. We might even get into some space lettuce and who the hell knows what in the hell we're going to talk about when we're done. But we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Alan. I like IRONWORX because...
Wouldn't it be crazy if you could create voiceovers?
Where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love IRONWORX with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that IRONWORX with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the IRONWORX.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Ironrealmmedia is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the IRONWORX with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the IRONWORX and become an Iron Scout.
This is Michael Tyson. You probably know me better as Iron Mike, but I don't go by Iron Mike no more because I used to be a monster. I'm a different person now. I'm all about happiness. But what is happiness? I'll tell you what happiness is. Every time I listen to my favorite show, ironrealmmedia. It's a truther show on YouTube.
And welcome back. This is the second half of the first half of the IRONWORX. Kicking off right now. That was the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. Been a long time since I've heard the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Thanks for that, Laura. Good stuffs. Good stuffs. And sorry to Zack and Nuka, who apparently couldn't hear any of the music, because that's just the way that things are now for some reason with the new audio setup that I have here. Just didn't quite work out.
No worries. I heard it over on the YouTube.
Good.
That would be a fun song to drive to.
And at least I know now not to play anything on this computer. Just doesn't work well. I can play things on my phone and I can play things on my laptop, and I thought maybe, just maybe, I could have a third input and I'd be able to play music through the main desktop here too. And it's possible, but if people on Skype can't hear it for whatever effing reason, then it's not going to do me any good.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey guys, whatever happened to that video that Crow 777 put up about the second sun. And you can see a second sun in the sky. Because I found that very intriguing.
Yeah, he's been more onto looking at the actual sun lately with his new telescope and the hydrogen alpha filter. He's coming up with some beautiful, amazing video and pictures and stuff. I haven't talked to Crow in a little while, so I'm not sure if he's even been looking for the second sun. Haven't talked to Chris in a minute either. Yeah, I wish I had one of those setups. They're just so expensive.
Yeah, just the idea of that second sun, another world, out of this world, other people, that kind of thing.
Well, the sun, in my opinion, comes from another dimension, right? And I say that not like, the Marvel going from this dimension to that. No. Not like that. Another dimension, as in a place that we cannot go. We will never be able to get up to the sun to know where it's coming from. So in my opinion, anything up there above our heads is from like another dimension. The sun, moon, stars, all that stuff up there, we can't go up there and touch it and test it and, measure it. We don't know. Even when we try to do it from the ground, it never makes sense. It never triangulates all at the same point. It's almost as if, it's like when you're at the beach. Say we're 100 yards away. I don't see the sun running to your feet on the shoreline. I see it running to my feet. I can never see the sun from your perspective. It's something that touches each of us individually, but all at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah, what the sun is, I don't think we'll ever truly know. Now, maybe seeing a source of where it might come from, the light that we see, maybe there is, that second sun up there, that's the initial source, or maybe it interacting with something else up there in between the sun we see and the actual source. But there's just so many variables and questions that you can throw up that you can't, verify. So that's why I always say, when Eric Dollard said it's a transformer from another dimension, that makes perfect sense. To me, at least.
Yeah, then the question, becomes, well, then who made the sun? And what is the sun besides the source of light? And what if that second sun is also then a projection? It's just a projection of a projection of a projection. It just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Josh?
I hear a lot of people.
Well, if you believe God made the sun according to the Bible, then you don't believe that the sun makes the light. The light was already here before God made the sun. God made made the light first, as I recall. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if the Bible says the sky is blue, I'm gonna go try and find a source for it.
Couldn't you just go out and look?
I'm not believing my own eyes anymore.
So you're not going to believe your own eyes or the Bible when both tell you the sky is blue. You're going to go find some other unknown source that may or may not confirm. And you're going to base your decision making on that confirmation bias.
Maybe 3 people or 3 things say it's blue. Just maybe. Just maybe it is blue. Maybe I'm colorblind. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of questions out there that I don't know if we can answer. At least not while we're in these bodies.
Someone said you're holding Liz for ransom. That's why we don't see her anymore.
50 million. If you ever want to see her in chat again.
50 million Zim dollars. I got you.
Yeah, I think she's getting used to the time change finally. You got to remember, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning that she would start watching us normally. Now it's 5 a.m. in the morning that she's here in the States. So she might pop in here second half or in a little bit. I haven't heard any rumblings at all. Wake her up.
Yeah, we need to know she's still alive, bud. Tell her to come on or say hi or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay $50 million to have her in chat, but a little proof of life would be nice.
You want me to send you her fingers?
Just a little one. She didn't need that.
Nobody uses their pinkies anyway. No, she seems to be having a really good time. A lot of fun.
And your dogs that are traitors, they still like her?
Oh, God, they won't leave her alone. They're not even my dogs anymore. Those are Liz's dogs. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, they love her.
On a plane says we're not paying the ransom. You keep her.
Joke's on you. That was the whole point anyway.
Yep. We're just going to get her out here and she's never going home.
Yeah, if he just kept her, that'd be rude as fuck. But if you're telling him, hey, Zack, keep her, then he can just agree to it and say, okay, that wasn't my idea. I will go ahead and keep her. Otherwise, it'd have been like a $1 or $2 million ransom.
Zack, it's against Christianity to have more than one wife. You can't keep both of them. One has to go.
Told you, Nate, I'm not Christian.
Are you finally converting to being Zulu? Then you can have as many wives as you want, so long you can afford them.
That was a great movie. You guys see that old movie there? Zulu?
Hey, Liz! This is on.
Seriously, I'm not. I woke up again to hear my name. I was trying to type. I was trying to say hi. Oops, I did it again.
Are you sure this is Liz and not Cami trying to do a Scottish accent?
Cami gave me like less than a half of her gummy. I thought, oh, it'll be fine. Somebody gave me my head feels like a bowling ball. I'm here.
So what you're saying, Liz, is that they are drugging you?
No. This I knew what I was getting into. Well, I just thought, yeah, I need a coffee and a joint. No, not a joint. Coffee and a cigarette.
That's how you start your morning.
We got her, guys.
Cami's bed's too comfy.
So you just smoke right through that, Liz. Pretty soon you'll be up at 3 a.m. smoking a joint, drinking your coffee, getting ready for a show yourself.
I haven't seen me ever been like that. Right, I'm going to shut up.
All right. Well, good morning, lady. Thanks for jumping in. Glad to hear from you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the proof of life.
I'll stay in the call, but just in case I have something to say.
Liz,
Yeah.
Liz, cough if you're being held against your will. No cough. Okay, got it.
There's Walt.
Oh, we were talking about the brownies last night, Brian. Cami was telling Liz all about the brownies. Beware my brownies. Yeah, I don't know what it was about that batch I made. But, I mean, people who indulge frequently, like I do, Melodome, Austin Thompson. He came up like 2 hours later and I couldn't see his eyes at all. They were like closed. He was like slurring. He's like, dude, that brownie was amazing. Yeah, Karen B knows how to make that good butter. And then you barely even tasted in the brownies. But man, were they strong. Are there a lot of people that use cannabis over there, Nuka?
I know he's still here.
Nuka.
Lego.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was getting coffee. What happened?
Are there a lot of people there in South Africa that use cannabis? What would you say would be like the percentage?
I think it goes with the age range. If you're saying like 18 till about 30, I'd say about 30-40% use cannabis. When you get to the older generation, like say 35 till about 60, less and less as it goes, probably 15-20%. But the younger generation definitely uses the shops everywhere that sell cannabis products now.
Oh, it's legal there.
Yes, they eventually made it legal. We had a lawyer that was a Rasta, and he fought and fought and fought and fought in court, High Court, Supreme Court of Appeal, everything. Eventually, they made the thing legal, and he was happy.
Been so demonized in this country for so long.
Again, comes with the generation. Look, if you're young and you're using cannabis products, and it smells like cannabis, that's the key thing. It smells like cannabis, and you are around an older generation, then it's going to be frowned upon. But if it's a cannabis product and it doesn't really smell like it's an oil or something or whatever you're using, and you can mention it's a cannabis product, then you're not really going to care. I think it's the smell that it's associated with that makes people frown. That's frowned upon.
You guys have skunks over there?
Skunks?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a skunk in my life.
It's you know what a skunk is, though, right? It sprays.
Yeah, I've seen the cartoon. It's foul
So
smells.
you've never smelled a skunk smell?
No.
Oh, that smells like really good cannabis.
A skunk smells like cannabis.
Yes. I used to hate the smell of a skunk. Like somebody would hit one on the road or there'd be one out in the woods that was killed or whatnot. And you'd drive by and you'd smell this smell. And it was so horrid when I was younger. And then I started smoking cannabis. And now I drive by a skunk, that smell, and I start looking around like, where's the plant at? Somebody's growing something good, or a poor little skunk just got hurt. But yeah, that's what whenever I smell a skunk, that's the first thing that pops into my head is that's some good smelling cannabis right there. like an acquired taste almost.
Isn't it still illegal in the States? Well, some parts.
In a lot of states, yes. They're coming around though, more and more.
There's a lot of states where it's legal, but it's also still illegal in the United States of America. Like, yeah, the United States of America, it's completely illegal. But if you go to the states that are in America, some states it is legal. Welcome to America.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Well, what's the punishment if you're caught smoking?
Depends on where you are.
And how much you're smoking.
How much you have on your persons.
One joint. You're smoking with your friends.
Depends on the size of the joint. Well, like, it depends on the weight, basically. In most places, you can have a certain amount of grams or an ounce, or it really just sort of depends. Then the punishment goes up depending on how much weight you have, is usually how it works.
What's the minimum punishment?
Ticket, I think.
Yeah, a lot of states are now ticketing for cannabis.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But then there are states that they, you go to jail. The state where I was from, Indiana, that's how it was. They made CBD legal, and within 6 months tried to make it illegal again. They found that all the people that were on all these pharmaceuticals, which is huge in Indiana, the richest person in Indiana, I think her name was Susan Koch. She was really big in the pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical products. Yeah. But she, they tried to stop it after only 6 months of being legal with no, people weren't jumping out windows no, it was just people stopped taking, cocaine and heroin or opiates as their painkiller and started using CBD. And found that, hey, all I have to do is take a couple drops of this CBD in the morning and it lasts all day instead of taking 5 pain pills throughout a 12-hour shift, which is horrible on your liver and your kidneys and all that other kind of great stuff. And they were losing out big time on the money. But no, it didn't pass. It's still, CBD is still legal in Indiana. But as far as cannabis, it'll probably be one of the last states. It's heavy red in Indiana. A lot of farmers, a lot of Republicans.
And I really would have thought it would have been most resistance up and down the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Like Newport News, like Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, all of those areas right through there. The great tobacco belt, I'm surprised, would have been so eager to accept hemp and cannabis. Not that they necessarily have been eager per se. But you would think with big tobacco so heavily invested in those areas.
Mm-hmm. But that is going to do it, gentlemen. We just ran through another one.
Damn, we sure did. Go. Look at us go. We doing it. Doing it well. So that's halfway. That is the halfway point. It's good to see Reperception in chat. Good to see Rock E. Shepherd in chat. Good to see all of you MFers in chat. Good morning. Happy Monday. Stick around because we got another half of the show coming up right after this. Good God. That was loud. That's better. All right. A little bit of Blind Melon for you.
Is this the place that I want to be? Is it you I want to see? Holding on, hold it high, show me everything. And you leave me now. Yeah, you leave me now. You're leaving me with a hated identity. Now that I keep
Walter, wake up.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Where everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Big shout out to Valerie's missing goat, Lou. Lou. Maybe it is just Lulu, but Lulu the goat. If you see a random wandering goat, just holler out Lulu. See if it responds. Welcome back to the first half of the second half of the Ironworks right here on freeworld.fm. Also on the YouTubes, on the Iron Realm Media YouTube page. For sure.
Have you heard, Nuka, about the sheriff over here in the United States that shot a judge in his chambers?
No, not yet. Why do you do it?
Okay, Kentucky sheriff who allegedly killed judge faced allegations of ignoring one of his deputies' abuse of a woman in that judge's chambers. So allegedly, they're saying that one of his officers raped a woman for 6 months in exchange for staying out of jail. And he was facing a lawsuit that accused the sheriff of deliberate indifference in failing to adequately train and supervise. So,
Well, how
the
did
guy,
they find this out? Did the woman complain?
yeah, the former deputy sheriff, the guy's name was Ben Fields. He already pleaded guilty to raping the female prisoner while she was on home incarceration. He was only sentenced to 6 months in jail and then 6.5 years of probation for rape, sodomy, perjury, and tampering with the prisoner monitoring device. And then there was a second woman, but those charges were dismissed because she is now dead. So there's some shady stuff going on.
So then this guy, this sheriff decides to go shoot the judge.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Because he was allowing him to be sued by one of the women for allowing that to happen, which I could see, like, if there's evidence that he knew about it and still let it go on and keep happening, then since he is the supervisor, he can be held accountable as well.
So instead of being sued for that, he wants to be prosecuted for murder. That's genius.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know if that's,
It sounds like there's a whole lot more to the story than what they've said.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're getting the full gist of the story here. I don't know if we ever will. But yeah, that seems like something that would happen out in the Wild West.
Did they say how the woman complained? Did she finally serve her sentence and she was eventually free? and then she complained, or she complained in the middle of her sentence
Yeah,
while
they're
this
not
was
really
happening?
getting into it. They're not really getting too into the details. They just said the whole traumatic experience for her lasted, over a period of 6 months. It wasn't just a one-time thing. Like every time she came into court or whatever, I don't know how it went down.
Oh, well,
But
that's
it
the other
happened.
question. Did they both agree? Did he say, "Look, I'll keep you out of jail if you bang me"? And she was like, "Sweet, I think that's a decent deal." And then somewhere along the line, she decided she doesn't want it. I mean, there's layers to the story.
Well, yeah, you would kind of think it would have had to have gone like that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have lasted for 6 months.
Exactly. And shouldn't she be prosecuted for prostitution as well then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nope, that's not how that works. Like if a company CEO decides to try to have sex with an intern because of the power imbalance, right? The CEO versus the intern. The intern's going to feel obligated to do what the CEO says in order to keep their job, in order to avoid an awkward workplace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because of the huge difference in the power dynamics, there's usually some exceptions made. And I think that would probably apply here with a prisoner versus an armed police officer. I think the power difference would apply here too.
I don't get how the other victim, just because she's dead, now the charges are dropped. That makes zero sense to me. Well, we were going to charge you for murder, but because the person you murdered is now dead, we don't charge you with murder?
No, once they're going to charge him for sexual assault, and the person died, so they wouldn't be able to testify, so then they dropped the charges.
I mean, it does sort of make sense. I mean, part of a crime is you have to have injured someone. There has to be an injured party.
Yeah, but they were injured just because they can no longer be injured. I mean, you still did the crime. I don't agree with that at all.
But now who's going to testify, though?
Yeah, how do you...
Because it's supposed to be his word versus her word, but if she's not there...
Yeah.
No sense in trying to prosecute if you can't get a conviction.
Or the prosecutor being like, yeah, I'm not going to win this case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy, though. It's crazy wild stuff. And then Diddy, man, he is going to sing. There's already all kinds of old videos coming out. Names being thrown in. Like some really big names.
You think
People
he's going to
hanging
sing? I think he's going to die.
I mean, he's going to save his ass the best he can. I mean, whether or not all those people have enough power, to suicide him in there. We were talking about that over a Karen. You know what would be the most watched, probably pay-per-view ever? A 24/7 of P. Diddy's cell. Right now.
Yeah, you'd have to restrict that.
A real suicide watch. That would be a suicide watch.
What do you think that freak's going to be doing in front of a camera?
Yeah, true. It'd have to be X-ray. That's why I said pay-per-view. You can't put it on just regular whatever. It'd be like 18 plus XXX rating. But yeah, there's already so many people coming out. I mean, people have been saying this for over 2 decades now. People had, it was a video, but you didn't see anything in the video. He held the phone up to the door and you could hear things of Diddy and another guy. The other guy saying, no, stop. And Diddy saying, yeah, take that. Stuff like that. In 2004, that came out. And nobody believed it. And everybody And all these people are now distancing themselves and getting rid of their ex profiles and all this kind of stuff. Anybody who had anything to do with Diddy is like crawling into a little hole right now. Like, don't look at me. I'm not even here.
I heard they can't even find Jay-Z. I heard he like fled the country.
Well, I mean, another thing about the Diddy case. What's that lady's name? Ventura. Miss Ventura. Cassie. She was with him for 10 years. And then eventually, they broke up for good and whatever. And I saw the video of Diddy beating the crap out of her. But she stayed 10 years with this dude. Some of it has to have been consensual.
I'm sure at first, yeah.
How do you stay 10 years with somebody and then say, I've been abused for the 10 years and you never left? If he was holding you captive all the time, he was always around you, how many times have these people been interviewed on the red carpet? They've been on live TV. She could have said, I'm being abused, help me. And people would have helped her on live TV.
Or she could have just kicked his ass and walked out. I think there's a big difference between the way a man thinks and the way a woman thinks. Especially when there's someone who is so much physically stronger than you. And it's not like he's a stranger. It's not like there's no feelings that she's feeling that's being involved in this decision making. It's not like she's just got 100% desire to get away from him because she's being abused. Right? I'm sure she still loves him. You see women go through this shit all the time. I mean, yeah, there's video of her just kicking her up and down the fucking hotel hallway. And like her family talking about how they would just hole up for days and do drugs. And she would come out and just be a completely fucking different person. Her whole attitude was different. She was quiet and introverted and just like traumatized after these fucking benders they would go on. I mean, I'm sure that the mindset that she took going into the relationship was not the same one 5 years later. And then it took another 5 years to come back around to say, all right, I got to get the fuck up out of here. It's nuts.
Apparently, they started dating when she was 19.
And even still, I don't know how much of what was going on there was necessarily sexual. Like, I know he had a thing with Jennifer Lopez too, but I think he's just about as gay as they come. I don't think he had any interest in women, is my guess.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, people are like, oh man, don't take your girl to a Diddy party, blah, blah, blah. Diddy, and the guy's like, no, Diddy, you don't got to worry about your girl. You got to worry about you. Diddy don't want your girl. Diddy wants you.
It's a beard.
Yeah, people have been saying this for a long time. That's exactly what it is. It's a beard. Hey, look, I'm a normal person. Straight. I'm not gay. Look, I have a girlfriend. I have a wife.
Like my friends and I, when we were sitting and we were talking about this, we were struggling to understand how a man can hire another man to bang his girlfriend, especially one that looks like Cassie. She is smoking hot. Like, why would you hire somebody to bang her? Do it yourself.
And everybody talking about the special drinks that were always made at these parties and just all kinds of weird stuff. People who didn't drink talking about, all of a sudden seeing everybody around the room just start passing out and you're the only person that's awake, you and Diddy. And Diddy's sitting there with this weird look on his face, just looking at who's first? Like, all right, I'm out of here. Time to go. But yeah, I mean, now there's been a lot of people like that have been to Diddy parties. But then there's like the Diddy after party that starts at midnight. And there's a lot of tapes that are going to be coming out. They found, I forget, hundreds of recording devices in his house. So if you were in there doing anything, they've got dirt on you. And this is how Hoover did it with the FBI. This is how the whole FBI started and everything. Hoover got dirt on all the aristocrats and all the politicians and people like that. All the people up, you know. That's how he stayed in power. It's not a new thing that's being done. Same thing with Epstein and all those people out there. This was more of a music industry version of it, where Epstein's was the Hollywood version of it. But same thing. Sex trafficking, underage sex trafficking, extortion. Yeah, it's wild, man.
Holy weird.
Now, is he even the ringleader, or is he just the fall guy? We don't know.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of celebrities are strangely quiet. A lot of people came out against Epstein and stuff, but people have just been quiet when it comes to Diddy.
Nobody's really denouncing Diddy right now, yeah. Well, that's because they know he's got dirt on all of them. He ain't dead yet. Better watch what you say right now. You want to go piss off Diddy, he's going to be like, hey, I got videos of them. Want to see them? I think everybody's waiting to see what happened, you know? And then they'll, if he actually does make it to prison and all that, they're going to be quiet for a really long time.
There's an African artist called Burna Boy. He does Afro beats and stuff. I don't know if you've heard of him. And they've recently brought up his Twitter or X account, where he went to a Diddy party, and he was wearing this lace thing that's like a female lace thing, and he was in high heels, and he was going to a Diddy party. So now this has come back up, and everyone's posting on social media saying, oh, it looks like you went there. You did the unthinkable. And he's quiet. He's not saying, oh, this is all bullshit. It was just a dress code or whatever. He's just quiet. Everyone's saying all of the shit about him and Diddy, and he's saying nothing back. So there must be some dirt, about all these people. It's so weird that all of them are just quiet. The people that are still talking are the ones that have always talked and said Diddy's this way. So it's nothing new coming from them.
It's because they were the ones that stayed out of the parties. They're the ones that saw the shit going on. I thought, oh, I ain't going anywhere near that shit. Because here's what's going on. Other people jumped in feet first and said, let's do it. They're the ones that are quiet. The ones that were at the party are rightfully quiet.
People are still talking about Justin Bieber as well, saying he was probably...
It's so sad.
The videos...
sexually assaulted.
Well, there's like video of him wiping the cum off his mouth as he stands up in the club. Like there are guys on the lookout, and as soon as somebody swings the camera around, Justin Bieber stands up and wipes his mouth and like looks at the camera. It's a whole fucking thing. It's nuts.
I feel so bad for that young man.
Yes.
Yeah. He was just a child, dude. A child when they got a hold of him.
There's video of him being sexually assaulted on stage at an award show. Who was it? It was some famous broad. Who was it? Was it Jennifer Aniston? Somebody came out on stage to accept an award and just like totally pushed up on him and was like all over him. It was like weird. And even after the fact, he's like, you could tell he was uncomfortable with it. And it was like weird.
Yeah, I feel so bad for that young man.
Well, Rocky Shepard says Justin is a trans.
Well, whatever he is. Just a shame that anybody had to go through that. I mean, it makes me think of Michael Jackson.
Thanks,
we don't hear about that stuff back in the 80s so much and this and that, but you know it was still going on. You know, there was a Diddy of that time. Yeah. And Michael was in that as a young person. He even was talking about a Diddy party.
I mean, he probably set the fucking standards. A little bit of Jesus juice in a room full of kids. I mean, it was pretty common knowledge that he had that red wine for all the children. And that term, Jesus juice.
I wonder what's going to come up.
Well, I was listening to Andrew Bustamante, one of these CIA guys. And he's not the type to say, you know, this is all a deep conspiracy. But this is just one guy who, you know, built an empire and was indulging in whatever things he could think of to do and just immersed himself into that lifestyle. But for every P. Diddy that's in the music industry, there's, you know, we still have the movie industry, the TV industry, big tobacco industry, big pharma industry. This is one person that they're looking at. And I'm sure that there are some for every fucking industry that would indulge the people in that circle with whatever sexual fantasies they need fulfilled.
No, Valley Parks. There's a guy, I forget his name. He talks about prison life a lot. Now, a gay person in prison is one thing, but a gay person that has committed sexual assault is a totally different. Anybody that commits sexual assault out in the real world is seen as a target in prison. Prisoners don't, you know, there's like a code in there. And one of the things is you don't hurt women, you don't hurt children, and you don't rape people, you know. Unless it's like some kind of power play in a gang, blah, blah, blah. There's exceptions, but you don't just go rape innocent people. Especially you don't hurt women and children. They find out that you did that while you're in there, and if you're in there with guys that are lifers, that know they're going to die in there, doesn't matter what they do, they're never getting out, you're seen as a notch on their belt. Hey, I took out another chomo. It's like a badge of honor in there. So no, I don't think Diddy is having a good time at all. At all. I think he's scared for his life, terrified. Yeah, they do not like pedophiles in prison at all. That's why most of those people get put into the protective custody, whatever, like the police do. They get put into a different area of the prison, not in Gen Pop, because they know what's going to happen to them. Yeah, you know, you got to remember, these people in prison, they're humans too. They have morals. And there's certain things that, I mean, I would much rather live next to somebody, you know, who tried to rob a bank than to somebody who molested a child. That's just me. But yeah, there's certain things that, I mean, you know, robbing a bank is wrong, right? But it's a lot easier to justify it in your head, you know, this or that, the banks do this, there's all kinds of things. It's going to be real hard pressed to convince anybody, you know, that you were justified in raping a child. Assaulting a child. I know we got to watch what we say on the YouTubes. But yeah, they don't, that stuff doesn't fly in prisons at all.
And that's just the prison society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, turns out you could be completely isolated and have guards put on your door and like nobody around, and they'll still come execute you. Like, it's one thing to have a price on your head from all the prisoners. It's another thing to have that price plus millions more by God knows who on the outside because they want this dude to shut the fuck up. Think of how many people out in the real world are scared to death that Diddy's in there, and they finally have him and what he knows and what he has access to. They probably want him dead too, so now you have to figure out all of those fucking prices on his head.
This could be one of the biggest court cases in like modern time right now. If it does go to trial and we do see all these, you know, because in my opinion, Diddy's singing. He's going away for life irregardless. I mean, the judge turned down a $50 million bail. He offered $50 million. And the judge is like, nope. You would be a danger to society. Just you being able to be out there and not, you know, 100% monitored where you can speak to somebody and we're not going to know what you're saying. That is too much of a threat to other people out there, witnesses and whatnot. No. Every word you speak from here on out, except to maybe your lawyer, is going to be heard by us. Every single word you say. You're not having a phone call. You're not calling somebody and saying anything without us knowing about it. Get comfortable. But that is taking us up past the break there.
That is just a little bit.
We missed you, Walter. I hope you're getting some much needed rest. You guys send lots of love and vibes his way. He's going to need it for this plane flight. We got these old man bodies, and yeah, they just don't get around like they used to and stuff, you know. Let's hope Walter gets to Josh's with no aches or pains or sores that he didn't already have when he took off. That's what I'm hoping for. And then a nice, comfortable ride for you two gentlemen here.
Yeah, I think it will be. I suspect 10 hours is going to fly by sitting in a car with me and Walter.
Yeah, I could see it just... You guys are going to look up and be like, oh, shit, we're in South Carolina already. What's going on?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Fucking weird, but he should be here tomorrow afternoon.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. All right. Stick around. We've got one more segment of the Ironworks coming up right after this. Who knows what's in store for number 4? Hey, that rhymes. All right. We'll be back.
Does it have its own original voice? Can it tell a story that can be told throughout time? And it's like in every song, I've been as hard on you guys as I've been on the labels about this stuff. The songs have to have a lift. They have to have dynamics. They have to have space. It's not like I just agree with everything that you guys said. I'm like, whatever the artist says. And it's not because I don't trust you guys. It's because I'm thinking about... I'm just trying to get home. In my heart I feel alone. I wanna have a good time, wanna be fine, I want it all right
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Ironworks. Kicking off right now.
You just made yourself smile, didn't you?
You know, most everything I do is done only to make myself smile. If other people find what I do funny, great. But usually it's just for me. I'm selfish that way.
Yes, as Steven was saying there at the beginning, Flattoberfest 2024, Spartanburg, South Carolina, coming up this next weekend, the 27th, 28th, and then 29th is like a wrap-up day, kind of, you know, say goodbye to everybody, have a breakfast, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, first one ever camping, last Flattoberfest ever. I'm hoping that this is going to ignite because how many years, Josh, have we been talking about, let's have a camping?
From the Jump Street, as far as I know, since the beginning, since we thought, hey, they might actually be able to pull off a huge gathering, like a festival type gathering where you can get several hundred flat earthers all in one spot. They ought to do it just camping style because nature and all that good stuff, and it's just the more laid back vibe. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we could actually do it to where it wouldn't be that expensive either. It'd be like traveling there, and I mean, you can rent out a campground, a lot of them, especially the private ones, the smaller ones. You get one that's got like, I don't know, 80 campsites or something like that. And a nice big, I bet we could find the perfect camping spot. And just, you could even get one with a little bit of a nicer one. You know, maybe charge like $20 a person and rent it out and get the pool. And, you know, there's ones that are really nice, some really nice campgrounds out there. All the amenities, the flushing toilets and all that kind of stuff. Because I know that drives some people away. But try to get all the amenities. And there's even some really nice places like the state parks even, where they have cabins and like a little, more like a resort, giant log cabin, I would say, than a hotel. It's a little more rustic and stuff like that. But they're out there. We just need someone to pull it all together. But yeah, I would love to just get together at least once a year, you know, preferably in the fall. But yeah, and just campfires and hanging out and everybody talking and chatting. And I mean, we could have presenters there and stuff like that, but that's not needed so much. It might draw in a few more people, you know, outliers, scragglers on the fence. But it's getting so big now, I just want to hang out with all these people I already know so well. I don't want that to stop. I want to continue to see these people, you know, annually at least. So yeah, all information will be at flatearthfestivals.com. You can go there, and there's a Telegram group for people traveling and this and that. Get a one-day ticket if you need. Saturday would be probably the best day, even though Friday night will be the karaoke. Just saying. But there's probably going to be more people there on the Saturday. But yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time.
So what do you got for us, Nuka?
What, in terms of dark topics? I thought we weren't doing those anymore.
Well, whatever topic you want to do.
No, I just wanted to ask about the Flatoberfest. Was there a reason why it's the last one? Are we running out of flat earthers or something?
No, it is a lot of work and a lot of headache and stress. I think Karen just wants to start doing something different. You know, she's been saving up over the years and getting all this equipment and things like that to really like maybe documentaries or something like that. But she just wants to do something different and not put so much time and energy into these. And really, it's a lot of it's the headaches that come along with it.
Okay,
I mean,
fair enough.
yeah, we had some good.
There's every chance in the
years,
world that somebody might take up the mantle and carry it on.
Hoping, you know, I'm hoping somebody reaches out to her and is like, "Hey, I'd like to buy the name and this and that, yada yada yada." And, you know, it'd be cool if it was just Flattoberfest forever, and someone took up the mantle and ran with it.
Yeah, maybe it'll go international one day as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. Have it in a different major city somewhere around the world. I know they were talking. It's like the whole world waking up. I mean, we don't get a whole lot of social media out of China and places like that. But yeah, just the numbers everywhere around the world. I saw a video of Matt Walsh and Joe Rogan talking about the moon landing, and then they had brought up flat Earth just for a second, and then Rogan steered the topic away. But now Rogan's flip-flopped on the moon landing again. He's now a denier again. Like,
I think that guy will just do whatever.
Oh yeah.
For money.
Mm-hmm.
I see he never has Johnny Bravo on there anymore.
Eddie Bravo, Johnny Bravo.
Eddie Bravo, sorry.
Yeah, man.
Johnny Bravo was cartoon.
Hey there, lady. He used to talk about flat Earth quite a bit on there, and now he's just never on.
Yeah, he doesn't have Eddie on it. I don't know.
And Eddie never said, like, this is definitely what it is. He just said, go look into it. See what you come up with. Look into it. That's all. I never saw any harm in him saying that.
No, but he was calling out the moon landing when Joe was like a staunch supporter of the moon landing. Again, after Neil deGrasse Tyson came in and taught him all about it. Oh, Robot Polisher put out a great video just at the end of last week about Neil deGrasse Tyson having to go back on something he's been teaching for decades. Because he would tell people, oh, because the Earth is chubbier at the equator by like 5 miles, since you're 5 miles further away from the center, you weigh like if you weighed 192 here in LA or wherever he was, if I went down to the equator, I'd only weigh 185. And he had to come back and be like, oh, well, gravity works the same everywhere. Because the Earth is trying to throw you off at the equator more because of the centrifugal forces trying to throw you off, that it perfectly counteracts that 5 miles that you're away from the center.
I wonder how much money he's made peddling this shit. I hope it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't know about being worth it, but I don't know. He seemed to not age until Flat Earth came around.
I've always said this though, but there's no way if you're a real scientist and you're an astronomist or whatever, you don't look into flat Earth just to try and disprove it. There's no way you don't actually look into it and realize that, you know, it has a point. You might not believe everything in it, but it has a point. And then at that point, you have to ask yourself, what the hell you've been doing with your whole life?
Yeah.
Unless they really do just believe, unless it really is a religion, and they're just gonna have blind faith.
Well, it's a cult. You have to follow what, the cult leaders say, or else you're out of the cult. And they don't want to be out of the cult because then, then they're not safe anymore. I don't get it.
What does Crow say? Belief is the enemy of knowing.
Damn straight. You can believe anything, but well, if you know it, then it's the truth.
Here's a question I struggle with. Is there any inherent value to faith, to belief? Is there a reason why I should? Like, is there a good reason to stop searching for knowledge on certain subjects and that what you need is faith?
I think there is. Just to answer you, Josh, with what you just said. For some people, it's a comfort. It's having that faith gives them the ability to wake up in the morning and carry on in the ideas and the belief that everything is going to be okay because some God is looking after them. And if you were to, say, now expose them to what you think is the truth and other knowledge and whatever, and they start doubting that, they might be lost. So for them, there's an inherent value to believe it.
But wouldn't there be inherent value in being lost so that you can stop believing lies and find the truth?
Well, some people are censored by that belief. And if they don't have that belief, it doesn't matter what you tell them, not that they lost. Their lives might crumble. If they're having a hard time, they don't have a God now to pray to make them feel better. Now they're asking the questions, if I die, what really happens to me? Because there's no heaven or hell or whatever. And, they might get anxious. They might feel, it's saying it's lost, but their whole lives might crumble apart. Some people are held together by that faith. Families are held together by that faith for some people. So there is an inherent value to it.
Well, no, see, I don't know that you could say that it's good for some people, and that's why it has inherent value. I don't think those two are the same. I don't think if it has inherent value, it'd be good for everybody.
Okay, how about this? It's good for everybody because it can instill hope, which is like one of our greatest assets, in my opinion. I agree with Regina in chat. So not so much faith in any one, being or this or that or person or concept or idea.
So like, as long as we believe that if we wear the same jumpsuit and the same sneakers, that when the comet comes and we all cut our nuts off and die with a purple cloth over our face, that we'll all get to board the spaceship comet and go to our new planet home. Like that kind of hope.
If that's what does it, if that's what gets you out of bed and makes it so you keep putting food into your gullet and keeping, entropy from taking place, whatever keeps you motivated, whatever gives you the drive to live. I mean, people live for all kinds of reasons. Some of them are crazy, like the ones you just said. But yeah, For a common person, I think, you know, a belief that it's going to get better gives you that hope, that intent that you put out there. You know, this idea that there is better and that good will prevail. We're constantly beaming this idea out there into the ether all the time. And for some people, that's all they have left is hope that it's going to get better.
So between knowing and believing, you would choose believing because it gives hope?
No, I didn't say that. I said it has value.
Would you say it has more value or less value than knowing?
Oh, well.
That depends on the person you're speaking to. For other people, it will be the opposite of what you would pick, which is knowing. I would pick knowing as well. But other people, they would pick
Ignorance
the faith.
can be bliss. Just saying. There's really happy people walking around that have no idea what's going on with the world around them and how it really, you know.
Look at that placebo thing, the placebo effect. The fact that now you believe that you're going to get better, you've gotten this medicine because you believe in medicine, even though they're giving you a sugar tablet, you start getting better purely because you believe. So that shows in itself that it has an inherent value.
I don't know if I believe that either,
The
though.
wrong thing.
That's assuming that whatever they were giving them was going to be the cure to begin with. Maybe the placebo wasn't a placebo, but it did actually fix the problem. I mean, for the placebo effect to actually work, there's a whole lot of assumptions I think that need to be made. Like, first of all, that they know what is wrong and what is causing that illness. Not only do they know what is causing that illness and what that illness is, they know exactly what it is that's going to fix it. And they don't do that. I think it's all just guesswork. I think I believe that there is metaphysical things going on with illness as well. And that maybe the placebo effect might be affecting that metaphysical aspect, but I don't think it may necessarily have a direct correspondence to the placebo effect because the placebo effect doesn't work for everybody. If that were the case, they would never have to make anything. Everything would be a sugar pill and they could just label it whatever they needed to do for the placebo effect to work. It'd make things a lot cheaper for the pharmaceutical companies if everything was just a sugar pill because the placebo effect.
Well, how do we know it's not a sugar pill then?
I guess the only way you could really know is if you slipped it in somebody else's drink and didn't tell them.
Well, it still comes down to your initial question. I think it has inherent value for some people.
What about religious faith? Do you think having religious faith has any inherent value?
Oh.
Maybe the fear that it instills.
For the religious faith thing, I really don't know. I mean, the most evil people I've ever met in my life have claimed to be religious and good and Christians, and yet they were the most ugliest people I've ever met, the most evil people I've ever met. So, I don't know, religion itself is something else entirely. Like if you prescribe to a religion and you go to a church and you hang around other religious people that believe in the same thing that you do, I think that's a problem in itself. But I've also met people that believe in, say, a God and they're Christian, but they don't really go to church. They just sort of read the Bible and try to be good people and so on and so forth. And those people turn out to be really decent people. But as soon as you involve a whole institution and other people and leaders and all of that, it all seems to just go haywire.
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to say. Trying to think. Faith, inspiring hope. I'm reminded of a fella named Mad Mike Hughes. Some of you might recognize that name. Lots of faith. He inspired hope in me. Insomuch as that I hoped his homemade rocket would go up and come down safely. He believed he'd be able to go up into the air and start to see the true shape of the earth. Maybe. That's what he thought. Lots of faith, lots of belief, lots of hope. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was for the best. As his rocket did come up, but did not come down safely. Rest in peace, Mad Mike Hughes.
Yeah, but that's one example. I mean, we can all point out examples where it didn't work, but we can also point out examples in our own lives and people that we've met that having that kind of hope has helped people, has helped them hold it together and be strong for their families and so on. We're not saying that there aren't outliers, but in terms of value, it has value for some people.
It's 7 o'clock. It's not the end of the show.
It is. We have run right up on it. Thanks, Liz, because I'd probably just tried to continue this conversation on a little bit. But maybe we'll continue this week after next, because we're not going to have an IRONWORX show for at least the next week. So I don't think we'll be back on next Monday.
Goodness.
Don't think we'll be on this Wednesday. I doubt. If it's up to me, there's a good chance we'll be on the road. Hard to say. Trying to come to terms with whether or not I should take a Wednesday off, or basically we have to see how well Walt recovers from the plane ride. And we may just take our time and ease on down the road that way.
Gonna miss you all that can't make it this year. Love you guys. We're gonna figure out something so we can all get back together. A reason to, have that fellowship. Don't fret. I shall see you again one of these days. But you will be missed.
We do love you, and there may be things that show up on the channel. We may go live at some point, somewhere, somehow, some way. So make sure you're subscribed and you've hit that little bell notification if and when we do go live.
And Josh,
sir,
I hope that's true.
You hope what's true?
That you will go on live some way, somehow, some way.
Tis possible. I mean, it's the best course of action. I could tell you if we will or not, but then you'd know, and what value would there be in knowing? 'Tis better to just believe. I'll keep it a secret. Yes. That way, maybe I don't go live and your faith is crushed. There's that too.
Just to prove a point to do that.
Sounds like me. All right, love you guys. Have a great week. We will see you back here Wednesday after next, I guess. For more of the IRONWORX right here on freeworld.fm, also on the YouTubes. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, be good. Be well. Do good. Do it well. We love the hell out of you. Bye-bye.